Welcome, global citizen. Have you ever felt the earth shift beneath your feet? Not from a tremor, but from the sheer collective heartbeat of a city electrified by legend? Tampa, usually known for its sun-drenched bays and laid-back vibes, suddenly became the epicenter of a cultural phenomenon that shook the foundations of pop music. What exactly happened when the whispers of BTS turned into a roar, leaving fans breathless? Are you ready to uncover the hidden sparks that ignited this frenzy?
Number 7. Jin, the worldwide handsome's secret arrival maneuver. When it comes to Jin, the man who redefined the term worldwide handsome, his presence in any city is usually telegraphed miles away. Yet he somehow manages to turn the mundane act of arrival into a cinematic experience that leaves everyone guessing. In the heart of Tampa, the air grew thick with rumors long before any official announcement, as eagle-eyed fans began tracking subtle, almost ghostly changes in local logistics that only a seasoned army would notice. We're talking about the kind of high-level secrecy that would make a spy novelist blush. It wasn't just about security detail. It was about the way the local atmosphere shifted, a subtle change in the rhythm of the city's pulse. Imagine the scene: a private hangar, the crisp Florida air carrying the scent of salt and anticipation, and then the realization that the man himself had already touched down.
Number 5. RM, the intellectual wanderer in the Tampa Bay Art District. There is something profoundly magnetic about a leader who chooses to spend his fleeting downtime not in the glitz of a high-end suite, but by losing himself in the quiet, reflective corridors of local art galleries and hidden historical pockets of Tampa. RM, the poetic soul of BTS, transformed his visit into an intellectual odyssey that felt like a secret scavenger hunt for the curious heart. While others might seek out the thrills of the coast, he was spotted wandering through the less-traveled streets of the art district, his presence marked only by a stack of notebooks and a quiet, unassuming demeanor that allowed him to blend into the scenery like a character in his own documentary. The atmosphere here was thick with history and introspection. He wasn't just observing the art, he was absorbing the narrative of the city itself, tracing the lines of murals as if they were verses in a poem he was composing in real time. This is the man who finds beauty in the cracks, who sees the philosophy behind a simple city landscape. The backstory is consistent with his well-documented love for museums and cultural archives, yet witnessing it in Tampa felt uniquely intimate, as if he were trying to find common ground between his own complex inner world and the quiet, sun-drenched reality of this Florida haven. Fans who caught a fleeting glimpse described a man completely at peace, a stark contrast to the roaring, pyrotechnic-filled stages he usually commands. It invites a deeper question about the burden of leadership and the necessity of silence. How does the person who holds the weight of millions on his shoulders find the space to just... Number 4. Suga, the hidden producer's acoustic sanctuary in Tampa's suburbs. While the rest of the world fixated on the flashing lights and the roaring crowds at Raymond James Stadium, there was a quiet, almost surreal occurrence unfolding in the unassuming, leafy suburbs of Tampa that only a true deep-dive observer would ever catch. Suga, the genius producer whose hands have crafted some of the most iconic sounds of our generation, wasn't interested in the fanfare during his downtime. Instead, he sought out a vintage local recording studio, a place with creaky floorboards and walls lined with analog gear that hasn't seen the light of day in decades. The atmosphere was nothing short of holy. Imagine the sight: the man who can command an entire stadium with a single word, now sitting cross-legged on a worn-out leather sofa, intently listening to the hum of a tube amplifier, his eyes closed, soaking in the sonic history of the room. This wasn't work. It was a pilgrimage of... Number 2. Jimin, the elegant observer of Tampa's coastal serenity. There is a specific kind of ethereal grace that follows Jimin wherever he goes, a quiet magnetism that makes the world slow down just to catch a glimpse of his presence. In the vibrant, bustling landscape of Tampa, he chose not the noise, but the profound silence of the coastline, far removed from the screaming crowds and the high-octane pressure of the tour. Imagine the scene: the early morning mist clinging to the Gulf of Mexico, the sky painted in hues of soft lavender and bruised orange, and there, walking along the shoreline with the rhythmic sound of waves as his only accompaniment, is Jimin. He moved with a meditative fluidity, his silhouette stark against the vast open horizon, looking not like a global superstar, but like a man seeking to reconcile the infinite nature of the ocean with the quiet complexity of his own heart. The backstory of his sensitivity is legendary within the fandom. He is the member who feels the deepest, the one who captures the emotions of an entire room and reflects them back through his dance and his delicate, soaring vocals. Seeing him here, in the raw, unfiltered beauty of nature, was a rare look into the soul behind the stage persona. He wasn't performing, he was simply existing, his eyes tracking the flight of seabirds, his hands brushing against the cool, damp sand, his presence a stark, beautiful contrast to the humid, urban energy of the city just a few miles away. Think about the emotional weight of that image. How does one maintain their identity when millions of eyes are permanently fixed upon them? That moment of solitude was not just a vacation, it was an act of restoration, a necessary return to the elements that remind him of his own humanity. It's an incredibly moving, almost fragile thought, isn't it? That even the most celebrated stars need to be small, to be unnoticed, to feel the cold spray of the ocean against their skin, to remember who they are beneath the glitter and the fame. He spent hours there, completely lost in his own thoughts, and those who saw him, from a respectful distance, reported a sense of calm that... Number 1. V. The artistic visionary's midnight gallery in Tampa's hidden loft. There's a haunting, almost surreal quality to the way V navigates the world, as if he is constantly viewing life through a lens that no one else possesses, seeing colors where others see gray and finding stories in the silence of abandoned spaces. During the tour stop in Tampa, while the city was saturated with the frantic, high-frequency energy of anticipation, V orchestrated an experience that felt like slipping into a dream. He didn't head to the usual hotspots. Instead, he rented an expansive, dusty loft in an industrial district, a space defined by its raw, concrete bones and the way the moonlight filtered through massive, broken windows. The atmosphere was thick with the weight of unrecorded history, and V, with his characteristic, deliberate elegance, transformed this empty void into a personal sanctuary of art and introspection. Imagine the sight.